Hello and welcome to another episode of the More Minute. If you saw my last video, which is all about the beauty and variety of the database fruit salad, which is the modern enterprise data kind of landscape, today I'm going to walk you through how you can kind of wrangle all of that data and how you can unify it, as well as sharing with you a real world example of a massive enterprise that was able to do this successfully, saving them money, time, and also increasing their security and governance of their data. And what we're really covering today is this really important use case around how do we unify data and create repeatable data products. And this is really about how you unify, but manage, govern, and share the data across different zones and how that can really be integrated into a cohesive data fabric and a data lakehouse architecture. But first, I want to share with you how a massive enterprise was able to do this. In this example, we're talking about IBM. So the CIO office had massive amounts of data. You think about data across 7 different data lakes built on a variety of different technologies. This really led to poor accessibility of the data being stored but not utilized. It's kind of like if you don't see it or can't easily recognize what's there, it often is not being utilized, even though IBM and several other companies are paying for that data. However, it's being stored, especially if it's being stored on block storage, which can be quite expensive. It also had issues around the governance, the access, and the processes, how that really wasn't consistent. It wasn't necessarily standardized across these 7 different repositories, as well as the data and the extract, transform, load. The duplication was also very prevalent. And again, when you think about, okay, maybe that's not the best for data quality, or maybe it's, not very efficient, but you also think about the cost associated with paying for duplicates of data. And then maybe not even, again, going back to the underutilized, if you're not even using that and you have multiple copies of it, it's really not efficient. And so it's important to know about IBM leveraging X.Data, this next generation data lakehouse, is the savings, which is almost $6 million, as well as being able to reduce a very large on-premise footprint, moving to the cloud, and reducing their complexity, which so many enterprises, not just IBM, want to do. And so how this was able to be accomplished was with this next generation data lakehouse, which really was this one-stop shop for all of the different operational data that's available. This provided the single unified view across what, previously was 7 different data lakes. It also simplified the data access and improving the data processing, especially around, large data transformation. And this was actually using the Spark query engine. So I think that's really important because when we go back to our database fruit salad example from my last video, when you think about all of these different databases, if you had all of them, some of them even more than what's listed here, how you manage that data is incredibly critical, and it can become, more than a full-time job. So having a data lakehouse solution is really critical that allows you to do that, and one that works with multiple different vendors, right? Where you're not locked in to a single vendor. And so when we think about the value of watsonx.data, I like to break it down to understand, okay, so we have the infrastructure. This could be you're running mainframes, maybe you're running the Z platform, maybe you're even running Netezza, some of these the appliances that, we talked about in the last video, or you could be running multiple different cloud providers like Amazon, Google, etc. Then when you think about the storage, hopefully you have lots of block storage, as that is an extremely cost efficient and effective option. But you may also have block storage, which necessarily isn't the best from a cost perspective when it's not using data that really needs that functionality, as well as you could have S3 or really any S3 compatible storage, Google, Azure, Red Hat. You can see the options here. And so what enterprises bring are these two levels. And then when you think about all of the different data formats, going back to that database fruit salad slide, you have all of this different data, and that can also be in so many different translation that can go into Parquet files or Avro files or all of these different files here. And I have talked about that and shown that in previous demos in the past, as well as providing a unified metadata and governance layer, which I'll go into a little bit if we have time at the end of this video to really show how not only you can access all of this different data where it lives, you can have a unified level of governance around the data and the metadata. And then finally, at the very top, how you access all of this data. What's really great is that watsonx.data is this open platform that doesn't have vendor lock-in, and it allows you to really bring all of the query engines that you'd like. So this includes Spark, which can be great for those AI workloads, but as well as things like Presto, which can be great for the traditional business analytics. You can also even bring in the query engines from different vendors. So think about Google BigQuery. You can bring in Netezza, you can bring in DB2 and query really whatever engine you would like to. And this is really important because it allows you to say, for example, leverage Spark and go in using the iceberg format, and you can pull a federated search, which I've shown in previous videos, where you can maybe ask a query that leverages both, the IBM storage, both the S3 storage, and maybe you even have some DB2 that is here. Very difficult to draw these. And maybe that's even running on the Z mainframe. So it allows you in one query using whatever query engine of your choice to have that federated search and pull data and get the information from multiple different places where, again, wherever that data resides. And it really allows you that ability to do that more efficiently, leveraging one data format, in this case, Iceberg. And this really saves time from having to go and query multiple different places in the variety of your database fruit salad architecture. And this is critical, as you can see, for saving analytics costs, improving your AI output when you can ingest more and more data, high quality data. You first have visibility into that, and then you can ingest that into, as you use AI, you can really ensure that you're being open and really cloud ready, regardless of the vendor. And now I'd love to show you just very quickly in a demo of what that really looks like within the platform. So here you can see me in the infrastructure manager view of watsonx.data, where you can see there are multiple, well, right now only one, but we'll connect other engines, as well as the multiple different catalogs, which is that metadata layer that we talked about, and then the storage. So you can see that there's Hive storage, there's DB2, as well as you can also add components. So here I want to just briefly highlight all of the different components. You can bring in your Oracle, you can bring in Redis, Teradata. Hopefully these names will be familiar after the database fruit salad video. So it really allows you to bring in all of the data wherever it resides. And as I kind of click through here, you also have a data manager view where then you can even, so yes, that infrastructure manager view was more of the visual, how you can see that in a graphic format, but also lets you drill down into at the schema level, what are all the tables that we have in here? And you can even go in through the columns, different edits and changes that have been written to the data, as well as a sample of the data and even the data definition language here. And at a high level, again, we talked about how that slide that has the metadata and the governance. And so when you think about how can you govern and how can you control access to all of the different infrastructure that you can connect to, as well as you can even create policies. So certain users can have access to certain things and not others. etc. This is a very quick overview, but this is really what it looks like in reality outside of the slides, but inside the actual tool, what this would look like. I so appreciate you watching this video, learning a little bit more about the diversity of different database types, as well as how you can really wrangle and unify that, not just to improve the quality and the efficiency of your data, but also to save cost and to really help your enterprise become more reactive to the customer's needs and respond quicker and in a way that's more efficient now that you can have a better control on your data.